to the studio. Come on in. Welcome to the studio. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Linda. And together we are Color Me Happy Fiber Arts. And if you love making things with colorful yarn, you love nature and learning new things, then you're in the right place.
A beautiful spring day after some rain and chilly weather. So we thought it would be fun to show you the outside of our studio and just to be outdoors.
We were thinking about filming in the garden, but nothing in the garden is actually up enough to see it above the raised beds. So it would not have been such an exciting backdrop. We'll do that some other time when we have plants taller than the edge of the beds.
Yeah, it would look like just sticks.
Right.
Sticks and dirt.
Right.
So what are you excited about?
Well, I am still excited about something that happened yesterday.
Yeah.
Because we had so much fun at Local Yarn Store Day. I don't know if that's a big thing wherever you are, but it's a really fun day just to celebrate the local yarn stores and all the good that they do in the community. And so we got to go down to one of our friends, Susan, at Mass Ave Knits in Indianapolis and spend the day with her. And they were having a knitting retreat all weekend long. So there were a bunch of people in, friends came from other cities to be with their friends and just create together all weekend. And it was really fun. They were, as someone said, there's a lot of good juju in the building. So we agreed. It was a really fun day.
Yeah, it was packed too.
It was packed.
Yeah.
Yes, I was a little bit afraid we were going to have to do fancy backing of the trailer. But we got someone to move their car instead.
Yeah.
I have another thing I'm excited about if you're still trying to decide.
Yeah.
I am excited about getting started on trying some colors for a special project later this year. I think we have had a lot of talking about it, like, oh, we could try this and this together, we could try this and this, and we're getting to the point of actually doing some tests. We have a new local Back Home Again base. We have had cormo and we have had alpaca, and now we have a blend, an 80% cormo, 20% alpaca blend. And so we made up some little mini skeins out of that, and we're going to test some colors for a very special kit later this year. That's all I'll say. No more clues.
Right. And I'm actually knitting with it.
Right.
So we'll talk about that in a minute. But so what I'm excited about, I'm excited about making the new yarn too. Testing the new yarn, it's already made. But I am really excited about our Indigo and recent tests we've been doing with Saxon Blue.
That's been a new thing.
That is a brand new thing. And so we've made a little video showing you some of the tests that we've done. But Saxon Blue is a liquid form of indigo that is different from the vat dyeing. It's different from traditional indigo.
Or fresh leaf indigo.
Or fresh
like
leaf.
We've done before.
Right. It has colors similar to fresh leaf. It's a little bit more on the aqua side. Mm-hmm. And it's somewhere between a natural dye and an acid dye. It was developed in the 1700s, 1740s, I think it was.
I think that's right.
In Germany, maybe. Anyway, it was developed in the 1740s, and it was a way of extracting color from the pigment from indigo, the indigo plant, but using something with sulfuric acid.
Yeah, a very strong concentration of sulfuric acid.
Right. And we did not extract it ourselves. We're not going to mess around with sulfuric acid.
You would need a certified chemistry lab with a fume hood to do that. So don't try that at home.
Right. But we did buy some. You can buy it in liquid form, and we got, we purchased ours from Botanical Colors. And so when it came in, I was just so excited that the day we received it, we tried an experiment. And so I'll show you that here. Today we're gonna open something new. This is so exciting because we haven't used this before. So I want to share with you guys what we got and what we're going to try to do with it. And this is from Botanical Colors. They are a natural dye company. And we got Saxon Blue liquid. This is a form of indigo that was made for protein fibers, and I think it was made in the 1700s. It's actual indigo, but it has been treated with some type of sulfuric acid, I believe, to turn it into sort of a cross between a natural dye and an acid dye. So it works a little differently than either fresh indigo or the indigo vat, and we wanted to see what it would be like. So come along and we will try it out. So for our first test, I have 4 skeins of pure merino that have already been dyed with some colors on them. So these have cochineal and then fustic and weld. And originally I dyed them like this because I wanted to put them in copper, and the copper should turn the pink into a deeper purple, and it should turn the yellows into a green, and the white undyed portions will be more like an aqua color. Then when we got the Saxon Blue, Sarah and I started talking about why not make it into a full experiment. And so we'll take 2 of these and overdye them in copper. And then we will take the other 2 and overdye them in Saxon Blue. And so we'll be able to see the different colors that come from those 2 different treatments. And we will also test light fastness. So stay tuned. Here we have the Saxon Blue. So we're going to put that in the dye pot over here. Make sure it all gets in there. Look how pretty that is. Oh my gosh. We have copper sulfate at the same percentage. Wow, look how different those 2 blues are. So we're going to take 2 of our skeins that have already been dyed with cochineal, fustic, and weld. And we'll put that into the Saxon Blue. Now with the Saxon Blue, it says that we need to heat it for about 30 minutes at a low temperature and then bring it up for 30 minutes. I don't expect it to do much right away. And again, we have the skeins already dyed with some cochineal, fustic, and weld. And these are going in copper sulfate. And it also doesn't change right away. So we will come back in a little while. Here we are at 30 minutes. So at this point, the Saxon Blue will not be done, but now is the time that we're gonna turn up the temperature. But let's look at it and stir it around a little first. Okay. Not much going on in there. We'll see how the heat does. You can see that there's blue water in there, but it hasn't done anything to our yarn. Now is the copper one. This has been in here for half an hour. It should be pretty close. The pure merino does take longer, and it is not purple and green. It is still purple and pink and yellow. Huh. All right, well, we're just going to keep heating that one too. Here we are again, 30 minutes later. And the Saxon Blue should be done. Let's see if it is. Nope. Oh my goodness. It is not, it didn't take at all. There's still color in there, so it says that we should add some vinegar, keep simmering it, and let it sit overnight. So that's what we're gonna do for that one. All right, copper. Not quite. It is much darker, but that yellow is not green. Okay, well, we will let this cool and see if that changes later. Well, that's the bummer. But we're gonna do plan B and see if it makes a difference. So it's the next day, and we have our Saxon Blue in this one, and we have the copper in this one. So let's see if they turned purple and green. Well, I see purple and kind of green. The fustic and the copper makes kind of an olive green, and the cochineal and the copper does turn purple. So this came out mostly like I expected. I thought this might be a little more green. There's still quite a bit of yellow in there. So that is our first set. And this is the one that has the Saxon Blue. Nope, not much change at all. So the cochineal still looks pretty pink. And this was 3% Saxon Blue. So it was definitely a lighter blue, but it shouldn't be this light. So you can barely see. This would have been cream colored yesterday, but this is still looking pretty pink compared to the copper one. So this did not work the way I thought it would. So what we're going to try today is to do undyed yarn. It's been allumed, and we're going to put it in 5% Saxon Blue, and we're going to see how that works. And if that works well, we might put this back in with a higher concentration of blue. Look at those blues. So here we are, the next week actually. I put in 5 milligrams of the Saxon Blue, so it looks pretty blue in there. And we're gonna over dye one of the skeins from last week. If you remember, the yellow and the pink barely changed at all, and the white is just looks kind of greenish gray, hardly anything. So we put in 5% weight of fiber, and this is non-superwash. So we're gonna see if maybe it was just not having enough dye material to change the color. Okay, here we are the next day, and we're ready to check out our Saxon Blue. It sat overnight after adding vinegar, and we're gonna see if that made a difference. Oh no, it didn't. It's still all blue, and it's still pink and yellow instead of purple and green. All right, this is gonna take a little bit of investigating, and we'll try to figure out what is going on. Stay tuned. Here is the skein that had the cochineal and fustic, and then we put it in 3% copper. And here's the one that had the cochineal and fustic, and we over dyed it with 3% Saxon. So the Saxon really didn't change the red and yellow very much at all. It did make the white go to an aqua, but I was expecting more of these colors. So I put it back in with 5% weight of fiber of the Saxon Blue, and it's slightly more purple, more green here. The yellow hasn't really changed a whole lot. Here they are in the sunlight. 3% copper over dye, 3% Saxon over dye, 3% Saxon overdye, followed by another 5%. So I'm thinking that this overdye process is going to need a lot more Saxon to make the purples and greens than our copper is. So we're going to put these in the window for light fast testing and show you the results next month.
So yeah, you like playing around in a creative way. So that has really been something you've been enjoying, I can tell.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So Sarah was here that day, and she is a good enabler to try
She's very
something
enthusiastic.
new. Yes, she's a good supporter of experimentation. And so we said, oh, why don't we try this experiment that I just showed you? And it didn't kind of work out like we thought. And so then that led us to do some other testing. And it was too much to put into one video, so I'll make a separate video about that. But I've spent a lot of time this week trying to do that. And then we're going to do light fast testing to make sure that we want to use this in our products to sell. I mean, we can use it for our own things, but if it's going to fade too much, then we wouldn't want to sell it. So those yarns won't be available for a while. We have to wait for Mother Nature to finish the tests.
Right.
Yeah, about a month.
So that's what's in the dye pot this month then.
Right.
Is Saxon Blue.
Is Saxon Blue.
And it's also what's in the garden.
Right.
Right? It's an indigo theme this month.
It is an indigo theme.
Because we're getting our indigo plants started. We have some that are coming up from the garden bed. So that's always exciting. We have some that germinate from seed there naturally, and then we start some as well, just in case we need extra. We'll have a good crop of extra seedlings to put in as well, because we're expanding. Instead of one bed of indigo, we're going to have 2 this year.
Yeah. Last year we had a fresh indigo class in August or September. I was gone, so you did the class.
Right.
And people had so much fun that we thought we should grow more of it.
Yeah,
and
we could
love the color.
2 classes, and we used a lot of it. We used it to dye the blue for our Indiana Dunes beanie kit that was with our local cornmeal.
Yeah.
So it made a nice kind of sky blue with that fresh indigo on that cornmeal. So we did actually use quite a bit of it in one of our products this year.
Yeah. At the end of the season last year, we let some of our indigo plants go to seed. Now we just kind of squeeze them and they pop out. And those really dark ones, those are ready to go. Once we knew they were ready, Linda harvested a whole bunch of them. We let them dry and stored them over the winter. Then in April, Linda started the planting process. Linda used an organic potting soil and filled the little wells about 3/4 full. She made indentations with her finger and the little wooden stick to help keep the seeds from getting pushed too low in the soil. She put about 2 or 3 seeds in each one and sprinkled a little more soil over the top. Then she watered just a little bit, but not too much because she didn't want to push the seeds down too far. She put the tray on a heat mat to speed up the germination, and she covered it with a plastic lid to keep the moisture in. She will check them every day, and if the soil gets dry, she'll mist it with a little plain water. Once we have seedlings, she'll add a little bit of fertilizer, and then later this spring, we will plant them in the garden.
Well, what are you working on? What's on your needles?
What am I working on? So this is I'm almost to the end of the row, but not quite. Okay, this is the Night and Day Cowl by Andrea Mowry. So what is the top? This is the top.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those
bandana
that you seam in the back, that. And it's got the I-cord edging around the top. It's so cute. Oh, look at it.
I like I really like the slipped stitches.
Yeah.
the way that really defines it and
Yeah.
gives it a lot of movement.
It really does. It almost looks like a houndstooth to me.
It does.
Um,
And it's not black, it's purple and white.
yes.
But it's also, we're almost to the month of May in Indiana. So it's nice to have some things that are kind of black and white to wear.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of
Could you get
fun.
away with wearing that to an Indy 500 event?
I think so.
I think so too.
Yeah. And this is our new Cormo blend that you were
Yes.
talking about just now. So I did dye a couple of early skeins when I found this lovely purple where I put the cutch into the logwood, and I thought, oh, that's beautiful. So I made a kind of a cream oatmeal color and the purple.
That's sort of like our truffle purple a little bit.
Yes, it's very close to the truffle. So that's what I'm making. It's fun. I love this shape. And so it's the same shape as the Shift and other cowls that Andrea Mowry's made. And I love wearing them. They're so easy to slip over your head.
Right. Not so bulky.
Not too bulky.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of ready for it to be over. It's like, I can knit stockinette in the round forever. But this I have to still pay attention because I'm slipping stitches and I have to, on the fourth row, it's different from the other rows.
Right.
So it's not quite a no-brainer kind of knit.
Right. We were talking about this. Like, do
Yeah.
you enjoy like something that is tons of stockinette, or does that feel boring? I can get bored with just like lots and lots of stockinette, which is what I'm doing now on mine. I am still working on my year of onions. If you watched that video probably 2 months ago, where I used onions from 2024, but it's the Alpine Bloom sweater.
Ooh, that is so pretty. It's kind of blowing out on the screen a little bit.
Yeah. There we go.
There you go.
Yeah. So it's the Alpine Bloom, and I am all done. And down at the bottom, I did something different. I decided to do a corrugated ribbing with the white, just to give a little bit of the white effect down there. And so now I'm on to one of the sleeves. So it's been it's fingering weight, pure merino fingering weight. So it's a lot of stockinette fingering weight. And I love how it's turning out, but I am just kind of bored with the stockinette.
Yeah.
So I think I like to have a little something interesting to do. I don't mind that.
Yeah. I mean, I like changing, like the vest that I finished last, the colorwork vest.
Yeah.
It had a lot of stockinette, but you were using different colors, and so
well,
it was
you had to
fun.
pay attention to the pattern. You were having to think
You had to think about
3
it.
white and 2 purple or whatever.
Right, but then that pattern would change every few rows.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I like patterns like that where you do a textured panel or some kind of a panel. Now, when I got done with the color work, I was like, oh, I'm glad to kind of be done with the color work, because that, when it's not a repeating like geometric pattern, it's a little more fiddly to remember what's where, if you've got a long pattern repeat.
Yeah. And then are you checking the chart a lot, or counting or thinking?
I always look at the chart at the beginning. And then usually after a couple of repeats, I can remember, and you can read your knitting, what color of stitch you're knitting into.
Right.
So after a couple, then you kind of get it in your head, and then you don't have to look at the chart anymore. But each row, you're doing that. So it's not very, for me, color work is not a very friendly, like movie kind of knitting. Right. I can listen to something like a podcast or something like that, but I really need to be looking down at what I'm doing. Right.
I like the plain stockinette for Scrabble. So I don't have to look at it, and I can put it down and pick it back up and not have to worry that I've missed something. But I can do color work when I watch TV. I don't mind looking down periodically, as long as I'm not watching something with subtitles.
Mm-hmm.
Then that's kind of hard to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. What else are you working on?
What else
Anything
I'm working on? I do
On your
have
needles?
another, well, not on my needles. I have another work in progress.
Okay.
And that is spinning.
Ah.
So this has been a month of spinning. So last month we talked about the sheep to shawl competition.
Yes. Are you going to put up a video with the results of the sheep to shawl?
I already did.
You already did. I know we did a post on it, but I didn't know you had already put a video on it on YouTube.
Yeah.
You're so good.
Yes. I was fast on that. That one was fun because we had, I think Maddie did some filming.
Okay.
And then I just put it together and yeah. So Ainsley's team won. Yeah.
Michelle came back to our booth at the festival and she said, Ainsley's team shawl, Ainsley and Reva's shawl was so much better than ours. And then
a minute.
They came by and then said, no, it really wasn't. It was really great.
Okay. So if my team members are watching this video.
Well, right. It's not that yours was bad.
No,
your shawl was beautiful.
It was beautiful. It was great. And it was purple and it was gray and it was beautiful.
Lovely.
But when I saw theirs, they had more intricate designs. So they didn't dye theirs.
It was all natural colors.
It was all natural colors. And so then they had like browns and whites and different patterns that had a story behind it.
They were talking about like wanting it to be like bark and envisioning how this specific weaving pattern that they were going to use was going to make it look like bark with the brown and the white and the gray. And
yeah,
it was good.
It was
they
just
did a
like
nice job.
At a different level than we were just trying to get it done.
Well, but to be fair, your team, some of you knew each other, some of you didn't. Like you had never really done anything
We'd
together.
never done anything like this together.
Ainsley and Reva's team is the Connor Prairie youth spinning team. So they
award-winning,
and they probably have practices every week or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
So they did a great job, and you guys did a great job.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
So you have been spinning a lot.
So after that, all I've been wanting to do is spin. And so I've been also dyeing more colors. So this is kind of like a rainbow color that I did. Yeah. And here's another one. This is a colorway we've done before that's summer sunset, but it has a little more yellow in it than normal. Kind of blowing out. I don't know. We'll see if the light works
If not, we can put a picture in.
Yeah, that's true. I'll just put a picture. But it's so soft. It's the merino bamboo silk. So I've been dyeing a lot of fiber and spinning that up. So that is my other work in progress, is getting some sample skeins of our new fiber colors.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's fun. Very fun.
Yeah. How about you? Is that your only work in progress now, or do you have something else?
I have one other work in progress. This is the one I told you was going to be a surprise.
Oh, that's right. You said you were going to bring a surprise.
I have a surprise. Because you were talking about one of your goals for this year was to do some unfinished objects.
Oh, yes.
To pull out some UFOs. And I thought that was an excellent goal. I did not set a goal for like how many I wanted to do, but when you said that, a specific one came to my mind. And so I pulled it out and I have started working on it again. And it is really fun. It is a little top.
How cute.
Here it is. Yes, this is called Pull Me Over. And we'll put the name, I'm forgetting the name. The designer. It's called Pull Me Over.
Pull Me Over. We'll put it down below.
It's from 2013. I started this in 2014, 11 years ago.
Wow.
And I don't remember why I stopped it, because I really like the pattern. And it still fits. That's the other amazing thing. It's stretchy. It's very forgiving.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't wear something from 11 years ago.
And so yeah, it still fits. And I counted the stitches and I looked at the pattern and I was like, well, on the one hand, I came up with a number that was where my size was supposed to be, but it was at a different point. So there could be, like, it may be that it's not exactly like I was doing one size and now I'm onto another size, but it's going to be fine because basically it has a lot of waist shaping, but I'm not going to do that much waist shaping. And then you increase a little bit, and so it gets a little bit wider as you go down. So that's about what I'm ready to do now.
Oh,
And then
that
it's
is
got
fun.
it's got short sleeves, but I may do 3/4 length sleeves because this is a of course discontinued yarn since I started it 11 years
So
ago.
long ago, right.
But it's an alpaca wool silk blend.
Oh, I wouldn't have guessed that.
Yeah.
Wow. So those slubs are silk.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Because when I first felt it, I thought it was cottony.
Yeah.
Like cotton
No,
was in
there's
it.
no cotton.
No cotton.
Nope.
That's cute.
Yeah, so I am enjoying it, and it's going pretty fast because it's just it's like a 3/2 rib with some garter sections in between. It's a really fun pattern. So I really have no idea why I stopped doing it. Let's see, 11 years ago, my kids would have been 15 and 18, maybe, maybe it was like college or something
Yeah.
like that.
It got put away to the
It got put
side.
away, yeah,
Yeah.
and I just never got back to it. So I have enjoyed getting it out again. So a UFO, it was hibernating on my projects page, and now it's back awake.
Back in. All right.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
So when I'm bored with the stockinette, I pull that out because it's easy to read and see what you're doing, but you're doing something different. So I kind of like that. It's a good switch in between the two projects for me.
Yeah. I need another knitting project, but with the puppy still, it's harder to knit with her than spin. So,
Oh, that's interesting.
yeah, she doesn't bother my spinning wheel.
But why is it hard? Why do you feel like it's harder to knit when you're with her than spin?
Well, if she's sitting next to me, she wants, this is
Oh,
moving and it's
so
always,
she tries to get into it.
yeah.
Okay.
But when I'm spinning, she likes to lay down by my feet and then just
Oh.
puts her little face down by where the pedals
Sees
are.
what your feet are doing. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but she doesn't try to grab anything.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just going with it, whatever
That's right.
works.
It fits. And
Yeah.
you feel like spinning now anyway, so that's
Yeah,
good.
it's still fiber arts. Yeah.
Yes. I believe you have some spinning finished objects.
Yes, my finished objects are only spinning. So one is.
But you get to, remember, you get to count those
I
twice.
get to count them twice, right?
So they will soon turn into something else.
Yes. So
That is beautiful.
this is fun. I
Yeah.
love this one. It
Oh
is
gosh, that is so soft.
2 braids from Into the
Isn't that
World.
beautiful?
I just love all those colors together.
Yeah, me too. That is gorgeous.
I want to do something with maybe a plain yak
Mhm.
that would be
Kind of a brownish
undyed
gray.
brownish gray,
Yeah.
maybe. And at first I was kind of thinking about the grid
Gambit.
grid gambit.
Mhm.
Um,
That could be really pretty.
and that could be pretty. And then I also thought this would make a lovely color work,
Mm-hmm. Like a yoke.
like a yoke.
Yeah, definitely.
But that wasn't on my list of things to do,
Oh.
unless I made this a holiday themed thing.
Would that be enough to do a yoke?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it could do a yoke.
I know you typically you spin fingering, but that looks a little more sport.
This
Since
I
you
would say
plied
is
it.
sport weight. It's
Mhm.
a 3-ply, so it is. Well, 2 of them are pretty fine, and
Mhm.
one of them is a little
Yeah.
thicker.
Okay. So it's a sport.
But it's
weight.
like a sport weight,
Mhm.
and it's not 2 full braids because I did do part of it with. I did chain plying, so it would look like all the colors would stay together instead of
Mhm.
barber pulling. So I always like to do some sampling
Mhm.
when I get braids, but I just love this.
Yeah, it is
love all the
really,
colors.
really pretty.
Yeah, thank you. So that's one.
Okay.
Then the other finished object, and this was another one of my goals, was to spin different types of fiber and kind of study them and write a little bit about what I like and what maybe I liked less about different fibers. And so this is Lincoln long wool, and it was the warp that we used in the spinning competition.
Okay.
So we wanted a strong
Yeah.
warp.
Almost feels like linen
It does.
in a way.
Yeah, it's kind of,
It's strong and it's less elasticy, you know, than the Cormo or the Merino.
right.
Something like
It's
that.
a long wool
Yeah.
that has like looser curls,
Mhm.
and so there is less springiness to it. And because it's a long wool, it's more coarse. So
More
I,
hair-like.
yeah, I have very sensitive skin, so I wouldn't put this next to skin for me. But it might be cool as an accessory, or I think Nellie from our team she dyed one herself, and I think she's going to make a bag out of it.
Yeah, that would make a really nice market bag.
Yeah. So yeah. So that was fun. So I did that, and then I've started combing a Cormo cross, and so I haven't started spinning that, but that is my second finished object. And so the difference between this might look nice with a light color contrast.
Now that you're seeing that.
Yeah, instead of a gray.
It would really make the colors stand out.
Yeah, but not this type of yarn.
No,
I would use something
but a light
else.
gray could be really pretty.
Yeah, light gray might be good enough.
Yeah.
So those are my only finished objects.
They represent so much work, though. I mean, really.
They really do. And the Lincoln long wool was carding. I did not wash it. It came washed.
Yes,
But I had to card it, make little rollags, spin it, ply it, wash
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
that's a lot of work. How
Yeah.
many hours, if you had to guess, would you say you would spend to come up with that skein of Lincoln long?
20 or 30?
20 or 30 hours. This is why people don't really sell skeins of yarn hand spun.
I mean, they do, but they're
They're so
usually
expensive. Yeah.
art yarns that are thicker, lower
Right.
yardage.
Lower yardage, not so fine spinning or 3-plied or, you know, all of
Yeah.
those things.
Yeah, it just takes so long
Yeah.
to do.
It's like
all
when
of that.
people, we've had several people at the last couple festivals be like, oh, can I buy that shawl or that sweater? And we're like, no. No.
Yeah. It's a nice compliment
It
that
is.
someone would want to buy it.
It
but-
is.
Yeah,
But you think about all the time that went into that sample.
right.
Yeah. I doubt someone would want to pay enough to actually purchase it.
Yeah. How about you? Do you have finished objects?
I have one finished object, only one. But it's a good one because I've already worn it
that's
like 4
right.
times.
Yes.
So it is the garden cardigan. Here it is.
That is beautiful.
Yes, it's in our flaxen base, so that's the alpaca linen silk, and it's in orchid, which is a really warm, rosy colorway, and I really like it. It fits great. It's a little bit drapey, very soft. I think it's going to be a really good 3-season little cardigan.
Yeah.
So I am really, really happy with it.
Can I try it on for
Sure.
size purposes?
Yes, I made the, well, it's numbered. I think I made the second smallest one, or maybe the third smallest.
Find you and see.
There you go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That
doesn't
is
have a
adorable.
closure, so you know it doesn't really the fit, as long as the like sleeves are right. It doesn't really matter if it totally comes together. It would come together enough that you could put a you know, a shawl pin or something if you really wanted to close it up.
Yeah, this is great. Thanks.
I was gonna say it looks good on you, but
But it's yours.
it is mine.
But it looks so good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, that is gorgeous.
It was really fun. So that's talking about like patterns and what you like knitting. I really love this lace pattern. It's a very simple 4-row repeat. So it is not hard at all to memorize. And I would say the only slightly tricky thing about this cardigan is on the sleeves. There are 2 different ways you can do the sleeves. You get the underarm where the sleeve decreases happen, because it's all about the sleeve decreases. So I did the kind where, here, I'll put it on my face. I kept the lace in it, and then you can see they're kind of coming together here.
Oh, yeah.
So that's how the decreases are happening. Like, I think something like every 9 or 11 rows on this pattern, this size. She also has a simpler version. If you don't want to mess with that, you can do this whole panel in stockinette, because it's under the arm, you know, you don't really see it. And so that makes it simpler. You don't have to deal with what's happening with the lace pattern.
Right.
But that, the way that was written, I had to like write it out so that I could, like, with little check boxes, and then I was like, oh, okay, I get it. I see where the decreases are happening, and then you move to this next section, and then you move to the next section. So that was the only part that was a little bit, had to just think about it and work through it before I got started. Otherwise, really, really straightforward. And actually then, so it did get a little bit boring. I love the finished outcome, but like doing those same 4 rows over and over and over and over, I was like, oh, when can I be done?
And now you are.
And now I'm done, and I love it, yes. So that is my only finished object for this month. We'd love to know what's on your needles, what's in your project bag,
Right.
what's on your hook, what have you finished?
Right.
Anything, any and all. We got to see lots of creations at our last Fiber Festival and pop-up of people who have dyed yarn with us and made things, or bought our yarn and made things. And that is really so much fun to see people's creations and what they think of to do with our yarn. So we'd love to see what other people are doing. So please share and let us know if you have any other questions for us too, or suggestions for what you'd like to see in the show.
And remember to create, connect, and celebrate community. And we'll see you next month.
See you next month.
Bye.